Hey y'all, Mr. Patient with Heritage Ways here on YouTube, and today I get the fun task of defrosting the refrigerator and the freezer. So stay tuned and let's go through it. One of the fun tasks that I have here on the RV is defrosting the refrigerator and the freezer, because the way these units are made, they're not frost free, so we get to defrost them from time to time. The last time I defrosted it was probably 6 months ago, 5 months ago. So it's not something that I have to do on a very regular basis. But what happens is, and I'll show you what we got here, and I'll give you some photos as well. But the back wall turns into ice of the freezer, and down here in the refrigerator, and the fins down here get covered with ice, so it's not running as efficient as it could. So what I've got to do now is take everything out of the freezer, take everything out of the refrigerator, and try to wrap it up to where it'll stay cold and frozen while I'm going through the defrost process. So as you're taking everything out of here, the first thing I want to do is turn the unit off. That way it's not trying to cool while I've got the doors open. And then once I get everything out of here, one of the things I found that works well to speed the process up is put a fan that'll circulate the air in here so that things will thaw out quicker. Now, I could speed it up by using a hair dryer, but I don't want to do that because these walls are thin inside the freezer and the refrigerator, and I don't want to warp them by heating them. So really all I'm needing is for them to warm up just enough for the ice to melt and for the ice to fall off. Because what I'll do is, once the ice on the freezer starts thawing, I will get in here and I will work to try to get it out in large sections. That way I'm not having to soak up all the water in the base of the freezer, because the freezer doesn't drain. So I have to get all of that out there. But the refrigerator, it actually has a tray that catches the water and it drains outside. Alright, so now I've got everything out of here, and I'm going to take some photos and we can post in here so you can see up close just how bad the ice builds up when I let it go for a really long time. And then we'll come back and we'll show you the aftermath. But so while I've got all this stuff out and it's doing this, going through the defrost process, I'm going to go ahead and clean the refrigerator, because I've got everything out, so I might as well clean it while I'm at it. So let's get cracking. And I also want to show you one of the things you got to deal with. One of the things you have to deal with is when you pull everything out of here, I have to keep the frozen stuff from thawing and keep the stuff that was in the refrigerator cold. So what I do is, the stuff that's in the freezer, I put it in the sink, cover it over with towels so that it'll stay frozen. And then I put all the refrigerator stuff in bags and everything on the floor, and then I cover it over with a blanket so that it'll help retain cool. Because doing it the way I'm doing it, I can get this done in less than an hour. So by keeping everything covered over, frozen stuff together, the cold stuff together under the blankets and the towels, then stuff won't thaw out and it won't cool off too much so that it goes bad. So let's get started defrosting the refrigerator and the freezer. Okay, I got a little hot while I was working, so I had to take my sweatshirt off. But as you can see, I've got it cleaned out. I've got everything out. I've cleaned it out, and I've got the fan going, so it's circulating the air inside there to help it to thaw out faster. So now it's just a waiting game. Come back in a minute once we start thawing out, and we'll get it all cleaned up and we'll show you what we got going on. One of the things that I try to do to help this along, as it starts thawing out on these fins, I come in and I pull off chunks of ice, because the quicker I can get this done, the quicker I can get my stuff back in the refrigerator and the freezer. Alright, so I've gotten a long ways on the refrigerator, and like I told you a minute ago, once it starts thawing out, you can reach in there and start pulling the pieces of ice out. And one thing that I do is I take a butter knife and I very gently try to pull those pieces of ice out without damaging the veins. And as you can see, that big piece of ice that was here in the corner came out in one big chunk. So that just speeds the process along. And then once I get the ice out, I take my butter knife and I take just a cleaning rag and I run it in the veins to get the water out, because one of the things that I don't want to happen is as soon as I turn it on, I don't want the water to be on there to start frosting over. So I try to get as much water off of the veins as I can before I turn it back on. So technically I'm at the point now to where I can start putting things back in the refrigerator and shut the door, and the temperature of the stuff that was in the refrigerator will help keep it cool while I'm working on the freezer. Alright, I've been working diligently to get the freezer taken care of, and I do the same thing that I do in the refrigerator. I have the fan blowing in it to move air, and as soon as it starts melting, I take a knife, a butter knife, and very gently try to pop it off in sheets like this right here. Because by popping it off in sheets like that, it helps the process go quicker, so you can start getting it cool back down and get everything back in here. But one of the things I want to make sure that you guys understand that you want to do too is, once you get all the ice out, get all the water out of the bottom that's collected, take a dry cloth and get in here and dry it out as best you can. That way the frost and the ice won't start gathering or collecting as soon as you turn it back on. So you're starting from a clean, dry freezer surface. That way you can go a longer period of time before you have to defrost again. So I'm going to get everything put back in the freezer, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on to the automatic. That way it runs on electric when I'm hooked up, and then when I'm not hooked up, it flips over to gas, like when I'm on a moving day. So I'm going to turn this on, get everything back in here, shut the doors, and let it cool itself back down, and we should be good to go when we get ready to leave here on our next journey here in a week or so. And we now have a defrosted, clean refrigerator and freezer to get started on that journey. So thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel below and hit the notification bell to get notifications of new content when we put it out. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you like it. Let me know if it helped you out. Let me know if you have any questions. See you later.